In this video, we're going to learn how the pen tool works in Figma. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the pen tool. And if you see the pencil tool by default, simply click on the small drop arrow and you're going to be able to select the pen tool. Or alternatively, you can use the keyboard shortcut P. And as you can see, the cursor is going to change, notifying us that now we have the pen tool available. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with simply clicking with the left mouse button around the Figma canvas. And as you can see, we're creating different vector points. Now, these are going to be really important. And one thing that you want to keep in mind from the start is that you can actually close a vector point in order to create a shape. Now, once you are done with your shape, simply click on Done or use the Escape keyboard and basically you're going to be able to have this shape, and you can edit it, you can add fill, you can change the colors, all of those good stuff that we learned in the previous videos. Now, where the pen tool shines is in its ability to create vector shapes of all kinds. So we're now going to try something a little bit different, which is going to be using the pen tool by dragging and selecting with the left mouse button as we left the single dot and touch point. So as you can see, the moment that I hold and move around the left mouse button, I can create all sorts of linear shapes, and you are going to see that these handles are going to appear as you're creating the different dots. Now, you can always change the direction and the orientation of these by simply selecting them. And as you can see, the moment that I do so, I can easily change these handles. So whenever you're tracing an object or creating an illustration, you always have the ability to change it in a second moment. Now, by default, you're going to see that when we do this, the setting is going to be on mirror angle. Now, if you select no mirroring, it's essentially going to allow you to individually select and basically tweak the angles, which are the left and the right in this case, individually. But if I use Command Z and I go back to mirror angle, you're going to see that the moment that I change one single of these angles, the other one is going to be adapting accordingly. So it's all mirrored, as the name suggests. There's also the mirror angle and length, which is enabling you also to change and mirror the length. So as you can see, if I make this smaller, also the one on the right is becoming smaller. And as I make this variation larger, also the one on the right is larger. But if I just keep the default one, you can see that the moment that I change the length on one, the other one is not going to be affected. So this is really useful whenever you're creating vector graphics or tracing illustrations and things of that nature. Now, of course, you can always change the smoothness as you can in, and this is actually going to be easier to see here, that we have this rough edge. If we add the smoothness, you can see that the corner radius is going to be increased. And again, all of the other settings are going to apply. So the fill, the drop shadow effects, all those things you can apply to the vector item because it is a vector, as you can see by confirmation of the icon in the layers panel. This is not a frame, a group, or any type of other layer. And this enables you to essentially create elements which can scale indefinitely compared to raster graphics. And I guess for the very most part we covered it. One more thing that you're going to notice as we have this element selected with the pen tool is that you can also use the paint bucket, which is going to enable you to basically paint, as the name suggests, in this area directly. So it's going to be something very similar to Procreate if you have that app on your iPad, for example, or your iPhone. And it's going to be useful, especially if you're tackling like projects with illustrations that have a lot of different vector objects and layers. So this is definitely something that you want to keep in mind. So this is it when it comes to this introduction to the pen tool, and I'll see you in the very next video.